Hello everybody, hello, let's get straight into the video today. Yay. So karibu sana to those who are watching us from different parts of the world. Karibu sana to my podcast. This is episode 2. The previous episode I really journeyed into really seeing how much I've impacted people's lives, and the outstanding comments were very great. I'm really much inspired by all of you who took time to share about the experiences and the exposure that you have had with me. And on this second episode, I want to be very authentic in my journey back to YouTube and to be a little bit vulnerable and hold space for people who are also going to come to this platform, as I'm looking forward to grow my platform and also venture into deep healing things that we can venture into together as we have our normal talks. So let's get straight into the video. Asanteni sana. Yay. Today's topic is really mind-blowing, and I really want to appreciate myself for taking that bold move to really go back and venture into things that I might want to forget, or things that I might want to not address, or places that I might not want to visit. So today I'm going to reflect on my childhood, and as I'm going to reflect on my childhood, I would also like to invite you to reflect on the early childhood memories that you have about yourself. So I'm gonna start with the sensory, the setting scene. So I'm gonna be asking myself questions and I'm gonna be answering those questions. The question is, what is the very first sense details that come to my mind? A smell, like a specific food, a perfume, the smell of rain, a sound or a lullaby, the hum of a fan, raised voices, a texture, a favorite blanket, or a carpet that is scratchy, in the back of a tree. I think the sense that I'm getting is the sense of what is my first memory ever? Like the first memory was for me playing with sand. I was playing with children. I think that was the earliest I can remember. Playing with sand. The place, if I can vividly describe a specific room in your childhood home, your bedroom, the kitchen, the walls, or the playground or something. So for me, I'm gonna say the first memory I had as a child was playing with sand via playground. The objects, definitely it was the sand, me playing with sand, and just eating the sand, basically, like, and eating sand. So what was the rituals? What was a daily or weekly ritual you remember? Was it a family dinner, Saturday morning cartoon routine, a bedtime story? I think for me was my journey to school. The first trip that I walked every day from home to school. I loved school. Like, every day I would go to school, and I really loved school, and I'd just have these moments that I had with my favorite teacher. And then I think it's Teacher Rose or something. Yeah, Teacher Rose. And we would just hum papa pari papa, papa pari papa, songa mbele pari papa, papa papa pari papa, songa nyuma pari papa, papa papa pari papa. So I think that was my first memory, because we would play, and then when you say songa mbele in English means move forward, and then songa nyuma means going backward. So we would just play that game, and it was very much intoxicating. Like, you can just go deep into it. And then I remember, like, wazungus, the whites, coming to our school with toys, giving us things. And I remember, like, the first cartoon I ever loved was Winnie the Pooh. And like I just loved the red t-shirt, and the way Winnie was yellow and puffy. It was so cute. I really loved, and I really had this book that I would cuddle at night with. So that was my first memory of Sensory. So the people and the relationships, the character of my story, my early bond, who was the first person I remember feeling completely safe with? What did that safety feel like in my body? I think for me, the first person who I felt safe with was my teacher. This one was a man. I think I was somewhere there in grade 2 or something, and he really made me feel safe. Like, he was one of those people that made me fall in love with, like, just having male figures in my life, because he would really like buy me stuff. He would really like when we would go to the trip, and I don't know if I'll find the picture, I can put it somewhere. So we'd go to Mamba village, and he was so protective of me. Like, he really loved like being in my space. I really love that teacher so much. Through their eyes, when you think of the caregivers, what would little you have used to describe them? What word would you see and would you use now? Like, I really think like it's just being adored in a way that was very highly esteeming. Yeah. The modeling behavior. What did I learn how to be a person by watching the adults around you? What did they teach me about love, anger, work, or joy through their actions, not their words? Like, I believe like people like my teachers were very authentic. They would love their work. They would do it so passionately that they would even like come out, even if it's not paying. Like, they would still come. Like, it was in the slums of Mathare, but these people are so passionate about their jobs. They love the children and created a safe space for everyone to like be authentically themselves. And that was something that I really treasure. And that was my first memory of like seeing even my mom work hard. People around me were hard workers, so I really did not have people who would lazy around. So that was my first modeling behavior that I got from the society. A lot of busyness and a lot of also lack of time for the children. So I really spend most of my time with kids, playing with my fellow kids. And yeah, I think for me that was what was modeled to me. The outsider, was there a friend, a teacher, or another family member who saw a different side of you than your immediate family did? What did the relationship teach you about yourself? Is there anybody like who saw? Yes, that teacher, like, he really adored me in a way that I did not see it from even my family. So I guess that place of adoration, in a way that I did not grow up with a father, so I did not know the attention of a father. So I think the teacher played the role of a father to me, and that's how like I saw the difference. Yeah. I'd go to the emotions and inner world, the heart of the matter. What was a moment of profound joy I was excited or I experienced? Conversely, what was a moment of deep fear, shame, or sadness? Can you sit with that feeling now and explore where it came from? A moment of deep excitement for me was a moment of deep excitement. I think when I went to this tall building, it was very tall, exceedingly tall. I think it was Times Tower or somewhere there. It was the building was very tall, and I would see us like, I was young, I would see us like jumping up and down, and just not caring about anything. But it was my first time seeing a tall building, and I was so happy, very extremely happy. What was the moment of deep fear, shame, or sadness? I think for me, a moment of deep fear, shame, or sadness, the first time I experienced was when my mom was working for some people, and then those people, they attacked my mom, and like it was like violence or something on my mom. That was, I think, a moment whereby I was shocked. I was in fear, wondering what would happen to my mom, what would happen to me. It really brought a lot of anxiety, not knowing if we would still live in that place or we would be going to a different place. Yeah. Making sense of the world. What was a misunderstanding I had as a child? Don't run with scissors meant the scissors would come to life and chase you, or mishearing a song lyric. I think for me, one of the moment of misunderstanding was like, I went to school. This was a funny one. I went to school, and then near our school where we used to play at the playground, there were some condoms there. And for me, like, I did not know those condoms were used because it was in a place in, if you know Metameta, if you know Madara, it was Mbudia. So there were condoms there. And then those condoms, like, they would like throw them after use or something. But then as children, we didn't know that these things were very harmful to us. So what we would do, we would pick them and then we would blow them like balloons, like whoo. So my analogy for what a condom was wrong, because I was like, this is a balloon, like I'm supposed to blow it, until my mom sat me down and explained to me that this does this and it's not good. But there was no specific description of it being used like this. It was just like, it's bad, don't use it, it's bad, like don't pick them at the ground, yeah, like that. And I think for me that was my first impression of not understanding things, but just trying to maneuver and wrap my mind around what that was. Yeah. Coping mechanism, like how did I comfort myself? Did I have an imaginary friend? Retreat into books, act out, or become very quiet? I think for me, I was very loud when I was a child. I was very, very loud. I was very, very bubbly. I had friends, so I can't say like I had like an imaginary friend. I always had company. Like, I was a bubbly soul. So the unspoken. What was something everyone in your family knew was true but was never ever talked about? How did you know it was a forbidden topic? I think for me, the unspoken was the fact that at some point I was asking like, where is my dad? And I think the very thing that my mom told me was that my dad had died. A train had hit him and like he had died. And so I think that was the analogy, just to keep me like until I become older so that I can know the truth. But at the end of the day, I did not know the implications like it could have on me. Basically, like getting old and then being told that your dad is alive and that was a lie. So I think for some time I grew up knowing that my dad was dead, like completely dead. And then that's when I grew up, and then I was like, okay, so this is a topic that maybe was not supposed to be discussed then when I was young, but getting to understand it when I was a little bit mature really confused me. Yeah. The formative and the foundational, connecting the past to the present. So what is a core belief I developed about myself in childhood? I'm the responsible one, I'm not good enough, the world is a safe or unsafe place. Can you trace it back to a specific memory or pattern? I think for me, just knowing that the world is a very unsafe place and it being spoken by people around me where I was growing up, like being exposed to harm in the ghetto, in the slums, every time, and then it's chaos and violence. Like knowing that life is not easy, like you have to work hard and you have to sweat for things, not knowing like you can easily do the simple things and make the most out of it. I think that was it. The strength and scars. What is a strength I have today that was forged in your early years? What is a soft spot or a trigger that you can now see has childhood roots? I think for me, the strength that I've had is I'm a very tough person and I don't back down easily. Like I'm a very, very tough person. specifically like in terms of like when I undergo challenges, I can be quiet about things until season pass, and then that's when I can come to speak about those things when it's later on. So for me, I think I've journeyed into a journey of silence. Like I undergo things, but it's because of the toughness, you know, in the ghetto, like you face bullying, like you undergo things and you're like, no, I'm supposed to be there for myself. I got me. And most of the times you're alone, your parents are not around, they're working, so it breeds in this analogy of you being the strong person. So I've grown to be strong, and it's a strength, but also it has scarred me because sometimes I don't know how to tone down and just be human and understand that I can also be vulnerable, I can also be soft, I can also be flexible, I can also say no, I can also like be empathetic. Yeah, I think those are things that I picked from the ghetto. Yeah. Breaking or continuing cycles. Looking back, what patterns, traditions, or behaviors from your childhood have I consciously chosen to continue in your own life? Which have you worked hard to break? I think for me, it's just tolerating bullshit or tolerating mistreatment from people, because sometimes you think like you're not good enough, so you end up tolerating things until they kill you. That's when like you realize when you're about to snap out. That's the time that you realize that actually this thing is very toxic for me. So I think for me, like that's a cycle I'm really trying to break. And the things that I've taken with me is that I'm strong. Like I don't break or bend easily. Like in as much as I get to them, to the point that I'm being pushed, I always deliver. And when things are tough, like I sit with them and I address them like in my own and just find solutions to those things. Like I don't seek help. Like I can be undergoing something, but I will sort myself out. Yeah. The story versus the memory. Is there a family story that's been told about you for years? How does your actual memory of the event compare to the polished, often old version? A family story that has been told about me, and how does your actual memory of the event compare to the polished, often told version? I think for me, people say that I argue a lot. I think like I argue a lot and I don't take a no for an answer. And I think for me, like growing up, like when I'm having arguments, people would know that they cannot win. I actually thought I was gonna become a lawyer because of the way I can be very defensive sometimes. Even when I'm in the wrong, like I can really defend myself and stand up for myself. So like my mother used to tell me, like, you know, Esther, you can convince me that this is a spoon while it's a spade, and you can convince somebody that a spade is a spoon, because of the way I can easily like stand up for myself. And it being told that if people would get into heaven by speaking on their behalf, I would go to heaven because I spoke on my behalf. So those are the memories that I can say that I don't back down easily, and I always stand for myself. Like I'm my own advocate. Before anybody advocates for me, I always advocate for myself, and I always speak for myself. So well, I'm gonna go deep and finalize the big picture and the healing. For today, I'm going to conclude and say compassionate perspective. How has reflecting on these memories changed the way I view my parents or caregivers, not as parental figures, but as flawed people doing their best with what they had? I think some conversations like those about daddy issues, like towards my mom, I can really extend grace and be like, sometimes maybe she felt she was not comfortable to have those conversations back then, and maybe I was too young not to understand. And when I got a little bit older, she explained it much more better. So being compassionate and knowing that my mom was also a human being undergoing that, and trying just to unpack at our own pace, is something that I'm gonna be compassionate about. And even for my teachers, showing up for me, loving me, and being there for me really shows me that indeed the community was very supportive for me to thrive and to grow in. The gift in the wound. Even in a difficult childhood, there are often gifts: resilience, empathy, a dark sense of humor. What was the unexpected gift in your experience? I think for me, it's just the ability to stand out, and the ability to fight, and the ability to conquer academically. Like dig my thoughts into books and becoming an excellent achiever at everything I do, standing out all the time despite coming from the ghetto to the university to traveling now abroad and to also like moving across the world right now teaches me that indeed like those experiences molded me. Those experiences showed me that I can really become fully what I've always wanted to become in life. Inviting listeners to reflect. I'm gonna invite you to reflect now. As I end my episode, what 1 or 2 questions would you pose to your listeners to encourage them to gently and compassionately explore their own early memories? Remember, like, you don't need to have all the answers. The power often lies in the asking of the question itself. Your vulnerability in exploring those memories will give my listeners permission to also do the same. So I just want you to reflect on your early memories and those things that you truly want to remember, the ones that you want to remember, and just reflect and ask yourself the tough questions, because we are unpacking, and this round we are unpacking with S. Just the same way I asked myself the same questions, just the same questions, you can go back and ask yourself those questions and also like try to find answers and try to piece it together so that you can be healed and approach adulting from a healthy point of healing and from a healthy point of understanding yourself. But I hope this week I impacted your life. I hope this week you make the best of it and you achieve all desired goals. I love you so much. Bye bye.